Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Home and Away, a podcast devoted to all things in and around the world of sporting Kansas City soccer. I am Drew Vanderpool, joined once again, as always, by my good friend Cody Welton. This week on the podcast, the U.S. men's national team has already won their group with a match left to go, taking down the Australians in a fairly physical matchup that left all of the Australians in my algorithm very upset about the refereeing and not upset about the way that their team played. Regardless, they came away with a 2-0 win and are already moving on to the round of 32 and have, on the basis of the other results the following that evening, have won their group, leading to basically a dead rubber. It is a dead rubber match against Turkey tomorrow night as we're recording this. So we will get into that match and kind of how that went. It was a fairly different match than the Paraguay match, but still, I think, showed the progress that this team has made and its ability to be able to professionally compete and win in matches that can be drug into the mud, which is very much what Australia tried to do with this one. In sporting Kansas City news, they signed a player. Woo! Hey! Remember those 4 to 7 players that David Lee was supposed to sign this transfer window? I guess the transfer window goes for a while yet, but they got to start playing matches here in like 3 weeks, and they had signed none. That was not to include Orblorian, who has already arrived with the club, but Amir Karic, left back, most recently with Sturm Graz in Austria. Sturm Graz has been basically the best team in Austria for the last several years. That's not saying much. Austria is a very top-heavy league, but had also had some history with Darmstadt, helping them get promoted into the Bundesliga and then relegated quite quickly thereafter. But a very experienced 29-year-old left back of Bosnian heritage, but grew up and spent most of his life in Austria. So we'll talk a little bit about him. We will talk a little bit about more things around the World Cup that we've enjoyed. It has been hot and heavy. I got to be honest, I wasn't sure about this 48-team World Cup, but I got to be honest, this has been pretty cool. There's been a lot of great stories.
I have thoughts about that. I have thoughts about why that is too.
Yeah, okay, good. So we can get into that as well. And then Temwa Chawinga, the GOAT herself, gets a new contract in Kansas City as part of the new high-impact player rule, which is probably the right business for them to be doing because otherwise she was definitely going to be gaining a lot of notice from European clubs. Right. So we're going to get into all that, as well as some news around the league and previewing this U.S. men's national team match against Turkey, as well as the Oranje flooding into Kansas City tomorrow as we're recording this. So, Cody, first, let's talk about Sporting Kansas City. This is a Sporting Kansas City podcast. Amir Karic, left back, as I said earlier, from Austria, but of Bosnian heritage, has one cap for the Bosnian national team, a team which it appears the U.S. will be facing on July 1st. There's like a 1% chance that they don't face them based on how third place games go. I think it would have to be there would have to be 8 other third place teams with more the same or more points than them, which just seems highly unlikely. Yeah. So most likely the team that the U.S. will be facing in the round of 32. He is not with that team right now, but he was most recently with Sturm Graz. I can tell you from the background that I've done, it appears like this is a guy who's been kind of around the Austrian and the German leagues for most of his career, has been playing basically since he was 15, and both for youth teams and then second and then first division teams in both Austria and Germany, and has been a fairly serviceable player. Doesn't have a really bad injury history, doesn't really have any kind of notable concerns on his record. Just been a guy that's been very valuable and was very valuable to Sturm Graz when they won the Austrian Bundesliga a couple years ago. That was their second title in a row, And what it appears kind of happened is that they were only third in the table coming into the winter break this year, and that caused their board to go find a new coach because they were trying to go for 3 in a row. They ended up just short of that. They won the regular season table, but then when they got to the champion rounds, they kind of do it very much like the Scottish League does, where they kind of split the season and they go to a championship round after sort of the regular season, and ended up finishing second to I think Lask won the league last year in Austria. So what I noticed when taking a look at kind of what his history was with the team is that new coach sort of moved them from a very traditional back four, like 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1 setup, to a 3-man back line, and was using Karic quite a bit as a wingback. And based on my film, he's not that. That is not really him. He's a big dude. He's like 6 foot tall, 6 foot 160. He's Luke Shaw. He's Bosnian Luke Shaw. Like he is. He's just not the type of guy that is one that you're going to be expecting to be an effective, like, high-sided attacker. He's much more of a traditional back four left back, and that did not seem to fit in this new coach's plans. And Sporting were able to get a hold of him. What are your thoughts on this guy? I know I'm not expecting you to do a deep dive on the player, but just kind of your thoughts on the signing in general.
Yeah, I think that it's a signing at a position of need and on a line that really needs some a veteran presence, as we've already discussed, and so when you combine him with Blorian, I think that's a step in the right direction without obviously having seen either one of them really play. I think that just looking at the FOTMob stats that have been collected on him, I mean he's just definitely an upgrade on Jaden Reed, and that's not a slight on Jaden Reed.
Averaged a 7.18 FOTMob for the season.
Yeah,
that's pretty fucking good, dude. For a fullback,
good. And he seems to be a well-rounded fullback, like a player who he's a defender, and he seems to actually defend very well. But he also seems to be competent in possession and in ball progression, and the things even his attacking numbers are better than obviously than Reed's. And I mean that's really the bad thing, is that I was really to the point where I was looking forward to Reed playing, because he just the wayward crosses just bring me such joy. I would giggle every time Reed crossed the ball. So I don't get to do that anymore. But it's good that honestly it's good to have a veteran presence back there, somebody who the younger defenders can hopefully learn something from. And he's a journeyman, right? There's nothing in a good way, right? There's no reason to suspect that he won't be a very solid but likely unremarkable presence, which is I think exactly what this team needs along the back line right now.
Did you ever consider Seth Sinovic to be a remarkable player?
No.
Yeah.
He was just
good at his job
every time. Yep.
Yeah.
That's we haven't had that, right? Since Sinovic retired, we haven't had that, and I think that it's necessary, especially when you look at the youth at the other areas along the back line. I think that it's a good signing, and all of the positive statements are caveated with we haven't seen him play. We haven't seen him play with the team, but it's like it's like a big boy signing, right? It's just a professional signing, for a team that really needs solid professionals at this point in the game, and so it's whelming. I'm whelmed.
Yeah, it's whelming. Yeah. It's a 2-year deal. If it doesn't work out, okay, fine, whatever. He's only under contract through the year he turns 31. So, like, whatever. It's fine. He just turned 29. I think you see, like, man, we're signing a 29-year-old left back. Okay, that's interesting. But he just turned 29. I also think we got to stop, like, being ageists about soccer players that are in their late 20s. They haven't just like all of a sudden started to fall off a cliff. I do think that it is more. It's very dependent on the player as to how well they handle that. But I also think you're just talking about a very experienced player. He's got, I mean, professional. I mean, Sporting tried to say he had 343 appearances already. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's like Graham Zusi territory. But he a lot of those are with youth teams in his transfer market profile. I think, but he does have close to 300 professional appearances. Like, at 29, like, this is a guy who's played a lot of soccer. He's seen a lot of soccer. I will say, I haven't watched a ton of him. It's not easy to find film on the Austrian Bundesliga. Let's be honest. Like, it's not a highly covered league. They were in Europa League in the league phase this year, so I was able to grab a couple matches on Paramount Plus and kind of go. I grabbed a couple where it looked like his performance in the game was positive, so I tried to see what was, and I got to be honest, just like you said, fairly, you know, it just wasn't that, you know, there wasn't that great, it wasn't that bad, it was just good, it was just solid.
Right. It's not a sexy hire, but you don't need a sexy left back, right?
I would prefer to spend very little time thinking about our fullbacks.
Amen.
Of all of the positions on the field, these are the ones we should be spending the least amount of time talking about. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Bobby Warshaw says everybody's backup fullback should be a youth player. It doesn't matter what position they played growing up, they should be a youth player from your academy. These are not positions that are highly complicated, nor are they ones that should be, you know, you should be spending a ton of time investing time and money in. They are positions that you want professional performances in, but if it is an area where you are focusing a lot of time and energy, there's some serious problems in the players that you have there. So I think that is the thing. It's like, it's even when he was like, I watched a game where he was 10 of 14 in his duels, and I'm like, oh, he must have been everywhere. Not really, just fairly unremarkable. Just stepped in and kicked the ball out of bounds when he's supposed to. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just like
just doing his job.
Yeah, just out there, just doing the things that fullbacks do. And I will say this: he's not the fleetest of foot. Like, the difference between him and Jaden Reed as far as the athleticism department is fairly significant. I'm going to be honest with everyone about that. But he doesn't get caught out that often. I mean, I saw him get caught out a couple times. They played. Damn it! What's the Turkish team that Kyle Larin plays for? Trabzonspor?
Sounds right.
Yeah, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I'm sorry if I'm incorrect here. But Larin came in late in that game in Europa League that they played them, and he tried to chase Kyle Larin and did not succeed. He even tried to grab the shirt and did not succeed. So, I mean, stuff like that. If that stuff freaks you out, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, sometimes that happens to fullbacks in games. That's not the only moment of the game. I think the issue is that we have some fullbacks that get themselves on the they provide circumstances for us to pay attention to them too much. And this is a guy that, for the most part, you're just going to notice not much is happening. And that's the ideal scenario as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's a signing that's a floor raising signing and not necessarily a ceiling raising signing. And so, but that's fine because
it might be a ceiling raising signing because he actually has assists in his career. Like, actual assists have come.
The floor of this team was the basement, and so anything that raises the floor is a good thing. So even if it's not the set, we're not out there looking for Marcelo. We're just looking for Sesanovic, like you said. So
that's what I'm saying is, like, he had 3 assists for Sturmgratz last year.
Yeah,
that's
better than none.
I don't think Jaden Reed is going to stumble into an assist. I don't think that's likely.
No. And Kyle Larin played for Besiktas.
There we go. I knew it was one of the it wasn't Galatasaray or somebody like that, but it was a semi-noteworthy Turkish league team. At any rate, I think this is, like, the one thing I will say that is noteworthy here is that there was a lot of concern that David Lee would only be going after under 25s. because
Yeah.
of his history.
I wasn't concerned about that. Were you? Were you concerned about that?
I think there was some concern, and I mean, he hasn't signed anybody other than that so far.
I'm concerned that his lack of experience in signing those older players would be a problem. But
Right.
I've kind of been under the impression that that is part of the reason, why he was happy to, remove himself from underneath the city group umbrella, so that he had the freedom to hire different profiles of players.
I would
So, I don't
agree
know.
with that. I would agree with that being the thing, but we haven't seen him make a difference
Right.
in direction since then.
Right.
So that's all I was saying. It's like, and maybe there was still some comfortability in the places that he knew. And especially as they're still trying to build out a staff and all of the other things, going to the places that are probably most likely. But still, 29-year-old left back with a ton of experience is definitely what this back line needs. Like, definitely.
Yeah.
Even if he's not playing every week,
Yep.
it's definitely what this back line needs.
Absolutely. Do you
Another-
think do you think they're still going to sign more players in the next couple of weeks?
I don't think 7 is happening, if that's what you're
Right.
asking me. I
2 or 3 would be nice, right? Like,
Right. I mean, there's already been the whole DP rumors with the winger out of France with
Yeah.
Jan Gaboho. I don't. I think that they've got a lot of irons in the fire. I'll be interested to see how many actually get over the line.
Sure.
And I have concerns about how many they could reasonably get over the line for the same reason that they weren't able to get them over the line in the spring. They don't have the people.
Yeah.
It's just not a built-out front office yet.
That's
I don't care what
that's
anybody
absurd.
says.
It's absurd. I mean, it's just
Well,
absurd.
yeah, I mean, it's a
taking so long
problem.
to do-
I went on a whole fucking rant about this a couple months ago. I'm not going to do it again. It's just where we are. Like,
Yeah.
so realistically, do I expect them? I appreciate that he has the goals of 4 to 7 signings. I just don't see how he could feasibly accomplish that.
Yeah.
I will say that Karic is already here in Kansas City and has been here for a few days, which is good news. Now, granted, Sturm Graz sort of gave him his, ability to go find a move. So that has happened. I don't know, visa. Just because he's here doesn't mean he has a visa. In fact, they were pretty clear in the release to say pending his P1 visa. Right. So that obviously has not arrived yet. But we'll have to see. I don't know how far along they are in that process. That's the one thing about the World Cup, is that it has sort of obfuscated a lot of the conversations around signings. Most journalists that cover this game in the U.S. are not focused on what's happening with MLS teams. I mean, even Tom Bogert isn't talking a whole lot other than the really big splashy stuff. So I think it's hard to know kind of how far along this process was, other than other than the we found out about this rumor through an interview that the sporting director of Sturm Graz did with somebody a week ago. That was the main reason we found out. And he would not have been that overt about that conversation unless that deal was already done, right? So I will tell you that in my experience with these things, from rumor to like paperwork to announcement, like it's often 7 to 10 days after something's been signed before you hear about an announcement. So this has probably been in the works for a little while. Hopefully they have some more that are this far along.
That would be nice.
Additionally, as we noted last week, Sporting Kansas City played a friendly against the England backups. It went about as well as we expected. We obviously, Sporting's not going to tweet anything out about it, but the English media was never going to let that one die. So we did find out that they lost 5-1 to the English team. Apparently, the one goal was a Manu Garcia's free kick golazo.
Hell yeah!
I like to hear about that. About that. I also saw in the pictures after the game, they've got all the sweaty guys holding hands together, and you see Jordan Henderson and Dean Henderson was very notable out there too, in his big forehead. There were a number of
meathead.
Jed Spence and a variety of other guys were notable in that picture. Also notably in that picture was a very tired and sweaty Wyatt Meyer. And immediately I was like, okay, yeah, 5-1 makes sense. If Wyatt Meyer was significantly involved in the proceedings, I get it. But I would say that my favorite component of that was Orblorian standing back there, getting his reps in and looking good. And from what I've heard, has impressed quite a bit since he's joined. Now
that's great.
We hear these a lot, right? New guy comes in, oh, he's great. But he seems to have settled himself in well. Will not hesitate to put a challenge in on a guy in practice. Let him know what's up.
That's good.
And as we noted before, desperately needed veteran leadership on the back line. Any thoughts on any of that?
I mean, to be honest, no. It's a closed door scrimmage,
225-minute halves.
Like, yeah. I mean, I'm glad that our guys got that experience because I think that's the most useful thing for them is just being around players of that kind of quality is really I'm sure an eye-opening experience for them. But I don't know that there's anything that the team itself could take away. Like, it's hard when you play teams that are significantly better than you. It's really difficult to really even work on things and take away things that are meaningful because you're essentially like you're their practice dummies, right? You're their practice cones, and so while I appreciate Wiki's positive comments about the team and all of that. Like, I think just realistically, there's not a lot that can be taken away from that, sort of tactically. And I'm sure that it's an experience that helps the team gel together and especially integrate new players. But beyond that, I'm not sure how valuable it is.
I think it's better. I think it's valuable in the same way that a preseason friendly is valuable.
Sure.
You're playing actual soccer.
Yep.
If you get smoked or not, there is something to be learned when you make mistakes, and especially players of that quality will immediately pounce on them, right?
Yep.
So and if anything, seeing players play at the speed that some of those guys can is probably useful as well, as far as calibrating your brain for the speed of soccer with these types of guys. So I think in that perspective, it's good. Even Harry Kane was very nice in the interview that he did with I think he was before the Royals game when Tuchel was throwing out the first pitch. He even said that he was like that it was valuable time and that Sporting accounted to themselves very well. That's what he said. Now, what is he going to say? Like, fuck these guys.
Right, I was going to say he's not going to come out there and run him down. Like, okay, thanks, Harry.
Yeah,
but he's a pro. There's something to be said.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for the players, especially the young players on the team, observing that as well. Like, it's.
Well, and he even brought up the free kick goal. He's like, the free kick goal is nice. I was like, okay, all right. So, I think. I wish there was some video of it, to be completely honest. But, I think that taking all the stuff about it being England and all that away, getting reps right now against actual professional soccer players is good. And I guess the Des Moines Menace are the one that they're going to be playing against this week. So they're continuing to schedule those kinds of games. And that's just important to
now,
if they're going to be any type
if
of
that
fresh,
game is 5-1, we got some issues.
Well, it better be 5-1 us if that's
right. That's like we don't ever want to repeat the Colorado switchback experience.
Yeah.
That is
the ignominy of losing to the Menace in Open Cup when the Twos lost to them. I was at that game. Mike Kuhn and I stood next to each other, freezing our asses off watching that game.
Was it worth it, Drew? Was it worth it?
It was, because we got to make fun of Sasha Kleshchin and Benny Feilhaber, so it was fun.
That's good then.
And Justin
Miram.
It
was worth it.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good time.
Justin
Yes. Exactly. Was it Drew Moore? What was the dang Canadian center back whose wife was in front of us? Mike's gonna tell me in the podcast Discord. I forget who. Was it Drew Moore? No. It was somebody else that used to play for Toronto FC. Matt Hedges. It was Matt Hedges, I think. Maybe? No, I don't know. It might have been Matt Hedges' wife. But that guy was playing in the game for the Menace when they were like had all these like semi-retired, and we were talking shit about like that's why he's not in MLS anymore. And his wife turns around and looks at us. I was like, oh shit, that's actually his wife. Oops. Sorry about that. Anyway, all right, moving on. The U.S. men's national team. This game had a little bit of spice to it. The Australian fans were fired up for this one. It was in Seattle at Don't Call It Lumen Field, which is fine. I don't really care about giving a corporate sponsor their time. It's kind of like GEHA, like who cares? I love the just like the painter's tape that they like threw over the logo on the roof. Whatever. Christian Pulisic, who we surmise might just have been, overplayed, like this was like some South American manager subterfuge. It was not. Pulisic was not available for this game. And in a very strange choice, like Pochettino makes some choices, man, that just like on the face of it, you're like, what? Excuse me? What? And then they work out. And in this case, it was bringing in Ricardo Pepi and putting him in that position. And I think it's worth noting one thing before I'll let you cook on kind of how it all worked. But one thing that's worth noting is when Pulisic is in these games, he is not playing as a wide player. That is not his remit. He did against Paraguay move out to the wide spaces sometimes to allow Jedi Robinson to go underneath to create sort of matchup issues.
Yeah.
And so because Paraguay's center back would it would pull their wing back center back situation out of space, or Paraguay's situation they were in a back four, it would really cause like marking issues for their wide defenders in those circumstances. But typically Pulisic is very much in the half space or even further towards the central channel when he's playing in this position. It's very much like a 2-10s kind of thing with the wingers. And so to put Pepi in this role isn't quite as crazy as it sounds. It's sort of shifting from a 3-4-2-1 to a 3-4-1-2, dragging Weston a little bit more centrally, and you just sort of inverted the triangle, so to speak. How do you think all of that worked? Because I was sort of surprised by the choice.
I think it worked probably a little bit better than I expected that it would. I mean, I see Pepi as more of a transition style player who, and I thought he acquitted himself really well in terms of combining with specifically McKennie and Dest, and because that's really that's really what needs to happen at that position in the field. And so I thought that he did well. Honestly, I mean, he wasn't great, but he also wasn't trash either. And he was involved in at least the first goal. And I mean, that's really all you can ask. And the thing is that it's hard almost to get a read on his fit, just based on game state, because once Australia gave up that own goal, I think things were maybe a little bit different than what they might have expected, but I still didn't I didn't feel like Pepi acquitted himself poorly. I thought that he was fine, unspectacular. He did a job. And his job, like I said before, was to sort of connect passes with the midfielders and with Balogun, and he did fine. He did fine.
I think more of his what was valuable in this game for him, and Poch actually said this even after the game, was that he was between him and Balogun, they were pressing Australia's back three And McKinney sort of helped with that, so they were still pressing with three.
Yeah.
But the way that you do it with two forwards is you're pressing sort of inward, and it really kept Australia's back three fairly narrow and fairly deep.
Yeah.
And so to the point that there was actually space on the outside for a Jedi Robinson or someone, or to combine with Malik Tillman to create opportunities on that side. Or on the right side is where we saw a lot of it in the first half with Weston McKennie and Serginho Dest really creating a lot of opportunity. And then you would see Alex Freeman or who else will come into that place? But Tyler at some points as well. It was more that the two forwards really kept Australia's back three sort of stuck. They were in their own penalty area, and they were defending fairly deep and fairly narrow. And that allowed the U.S. to sort of create overloads on the wide areas in a way, like typically in a back three, you're trying, that's the whole concept, right? Is like you're trying to push attacks out to the wide areas, but then you also have numbers when that happens. Right. So when you push the attack in that wide area, that center back can flare out to help. The wide center back can flare out to help the fullback and defend that space. But the way that Pepe and Balogun were sort of interchanging, first of all, they were swapping positions a lot, so creating a marking issue. And secondarily, pressing was keeping those center backs pinched fairly narrow. And that created a space to overload.
I think that that you bring up an excellent point, and that's the job that Pepe did as a presser. I think really justifies his selection. To be out there over someone like Haji Wright, or even over moving someone like McKinney further up the field, because
there was some discussion about Brendo or Gio Reyna or somebody like that in those positions, and I don't think you would have got this performance out of them. Brendo would run around a lot, but I don't think that he would have occupied the center backs in the way that Pepe does.
Agreed. I think that's a really important point. And the thing is when when you have someone like Pepe who is occupying center backs, and as you said, sort of keeping them pressed in like that, I think importantly helps free up Dest to be 1v1 versus a wingback, and that's when you're like pressing the dominoes to making them fall, you're trying to achieve numerical superiority for yourself, sure, but you're also focusing on matchups. And I think that given that whichever side he was on, you are either making room for Dest or you're making room for Robinson. I think that that's an important function about with regards to the job that he was tasked with doing.
Well, and Dest is obviously the best 1v1 wide dribbler that we have, probably other than Pulisic, right? So, like, if you...
Maybe he might even be better than Pulisic, honestly.
Right,
especially if they're, like, starting from a stop, right? Like, I think Pulisic on the run is probably a little bit better, but Dest, he can go from flat-footed to, like, Megan guys immediately. It's crazy.
Right. Well, and the other thing is that what I saw in this game is you see Weston McKennie and a guy who combines with that type of player really well. Like the thing about Wes, and I know a lot of there's a lot of talk about how he plays all these different positions on the field and he's capable of doing all these things. The reason he's capable of all these things is his soccer brain's fucking like IQ 190. Like the dude sees the game really, really well. Really, really well. He obviously has technical skill and the ability to hit a good pass and like get into the right places, but he reads moments exceptionally well. He reads movement exceptionally well. And so with a guy like Dest, when he breaks somebody, Wes knows where to be to receive the next pass and then play him through on the next one. And that happened fairly regularly in the first half of this one, to the point that it just sort of created this gravity aspect where it pulled a lot of Australia's defense over to the U.S.'s right side. And then what happens? Balogun flares out, gets a long ball through, and he's in the channel, and their right center back is trying to chase him. And that is a perfect situation for the U.S. Yep. Fuller and Balogun versus a wide center back. I take that every day of the week, 100% of the time. And yes, it's an own goal, but it's another own goal because if the guy doesn't intervene, it's a fucking tap in for Ricardo Pepi, right?
Yeah.
So like it's just like the first own goal. If the guy doesn't intervene, it's a goal. So yeah, I mean, and I think to your point, once they score that early, this is the most important part of both of these games against Paraguay and against Australia. Teams that want to really sort of drag the game into the mud and sort of like claw it down and like make it really tight. You score on them early, all of a sudden things change. The profile changes, and it was still a battle. Like Australia was still much more physical than Paraguay was. They were and their center backs are huge. Like it was a battle. Like the guys really had to fight hard. But in the first half of that match, and I think I even texted you at halftime, I never felt like the U.S. got out of their shape. I never felt like the U.S. really was pressed that much. I never felt like it was just like a very professional performance, just trying to break down a low block. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was not really worried about Australia going into the match, and you know, I at no point was I concerned, really, hardly at all. I mean, I think that we all knew that they were going to come in and try and kick the shit out of the Americans because they'd already.
And it got worse in the second half too.
Absolutely, it was ridiculous. But you know, I mean, I don't begrudge them that. I mean, you play the way that you have to play given, you know, the level of your talent and the skills or that the players that you have on your roster have. And so I thought that that they were just stiff enough of a test, right? Like it wasn't enough to really, you know, make the United States sweat it out, but it was enough of a test to you know, to give the United States something to have to kind of overcome. And I think that is, you know, in terms of building momentum and maintaining and building momentum as you're moving through the tournament, I thought it was kind of an ideal match for that. Even though, you know, we didn't get any like sexy goals and you know, but the hardworking, gritty goals, you know, like the Freeman goal. I mean, that counts for just as much, if not more. And you know that, you know, Pochettino loves that shit. And I think the important thing is it keeps the team buy-in high, and you know the vibes I think are really good with the team right now. And let's just hope it doesn't get derailed tomorrow, right? I mean, because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, especially if we got 4 guys on yellow cards. If none of them are playing, then there's definitely going to be you know, a change there. I would agree with you. I think first of all, when it comes to the Freeman goal, yes, like battling, slam dunking the header and getting the goal, like that is the kind of stuff you want to see guys do on set pieces, especially on recycled set pieces. Like try to get back in there. The other thing is it happens at like, again, this is the second game in a row, like 45 plus something, right? We're in the stoppage time from the hydration break, and Freeman slam dunks at home, and you go into halftime now with an extra goal, and it's just like going into halftime up 2-0 is way different than 1-0 in this circumstance. Yeah. And it really caused Tony Popovich to have to make some significant changes. I gotta be honest, I think Popovich sort of fucked this. So I don't know why Nestor Irankunda didn't start this match.
Agree.
I don't know what he's doing. Like, I really don't know what he's doing. But I think he overthought it a little bit. I think he really wanted to drag the game into the mud so far, and then try to like unleash hell in the end of the game.
Which is fine, except you have to have like a plan B if you give up an own goal in the, you know, in the early stages of the game. Then what? And then you know it's that Australia didn't really have the ability or the personnel on the field to pivot at that point, and they paid the price for it. I think that I heard on Doyle and Goss today made a comment that Freeman has, I think, the most box entry passes of any defender in the World Cup so far, which is,
and he's basically playing center back.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean,
he's really not playing fullback. Like if they were like doing like the team of the match day or whatever kind of thing, and he's on it for scoring that goal, and they have him at center back because it's basically the role he's basically playing as a right center back. And yeah, it's wild. It's wild, and he's 21 years old. The whole story about him, honestly, like I don't even want to get into his dad stuff. Like just 18 months ago, this guy was barely playing for Orlando City.
Yeah. It's wild.
Now he gets this move to Villarreal, and then he didn't play much for them once he got the move over there, but like worked himself into the lineup there, and he's playing like notable, meaningful minutes. Like I love it. I love it. And again, this is how the vibes get to where they are. Poch has done a very good job of creating positive vibes. There's been a lot of articles. Go ahead.
Can I interject real quick? And I think that it's positive vibes, but it's also because, you know, one of the things that Pochettino is doing is something that we've talked about a lot on this podcast, and he's recognizing the positive attributes of the players at his disposal, and he's putting them into into positions on the field and situations where they can be successful, and that success just breeds more success and more success, and so it's like a cascading effect of like confidence and that boosts, you know, skill and intent, and I think that that's happening with players all over the field. And when you just look at a roster and you see that, you know, players are performing, multiple players are performing sort of above their level and increasing the you know, the output of the team overall, such that the team is now more than a sum of its parts. Like, that's good coaching, right? That's what good coaching looks like, and it's a little fuzzy and not the most measurable metric in the world, but you can tell that Pochettino is a good coach, and you just contrast him to someone, you know, like Steve Clark, for instance, like Scotland's coach, and you know, those players are not, you know, like you know. I say that because that game has ended while we're podcasting, but it's not like, you know, Scott McTominay has had a good tournament, right? He's been anonymous.
He's been pretty bad in this tournament,
and
to be honest.
Like, that is coaching, right? Like if you can't find a way to showcase your highest quality players, then that's a problem. And frankly, you could make the same that argument could be made for Tuchel in the game yesterday as well, because Harry Kane didn't do hardly
he was
anything.
nowhere in this game, and so okay, this is a very good thing that you're bringing up, and we'll get back to finishing the U.S. men's national team conversation and kind of what it means. But this is a really good point that you're making, because there were a lot of think pieces after England's first game about how Tuchel had solved this and he turned England into a Premier League team, right? And they were playing like a best Premier League team would play. You know what happened? Carlos Queiroz broke out the "I'm Nottingham Forest and I need a result against Manchester City" tactics. Yeah.
Not only that, but he did it.
And they absolutely crumbled exactly like you would expect, like a good Premier League team against a team that playing reductive soccer. It's so and the most predictable thing happened, and how. I mean, listen, you know, Harry had a couple misses in this one. He's going to want back for sure. But this guy, I am biased in this regard. I know that I am biased in this regard. He's one of the best strikers I've ever seen. Like, one of the best strikers I've ever seen play soccer in my life. How do you not find a way to put the ball in his foot in the box? Like, that should be your whole fucking goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
This guy scored an absurd amount of goals at fucking Tottenham Hotspur. Okay? Right. All right? He goes to Bayern Munich and does exactly what you think would happen, which is score all the goals. So, like, why are you not finding ways to put the ball on it? So, fucking Vincent Kompany was like, you know what? We're just gonna go all gas, no brakes, boys. Now you can do that in the Bundesliga when you're Bayern Munich. I understand that Thomas Tuchel can't necessarily get away with doing quite that, But you have Jude Bellingham, you have Noni Madueke, you have all these like really creative players. Your job should be finding him the ball on his foot inside the fucking penalty box. That should be your goal.
Well, I think that's a problem too. Is that Madueke and Gordon were terrible, and maybe they're not the right players for the job. But I think it's funny that everybody was when Tuchel announced his roster, the narrative was that he chose all these like big, strong, physical players so that they could dominate on set pieces and dominate defensively, and then they got absolutely dominated.
They should have lost this game, by the way. They should have lost this game. I was being a little contrarian on the Discord about this tackle by Ezri Konsa.
The tackle
more I
is
watch
terrible.
It's terrible.
Ridiculous.
I mean, he yeeted himself towards the ball, didn't touch it. It took out the player. This is some serious CONCACAF-y shit here that this didn't get reviewed because it's a CONCACAF center and it was Armando Villarreal on the VAR. So it was very much a CONCACAF-y situation regarding them not getting the review on that. And Jordan Pickford probably deserves at least a yellow card early in this game as well. I think that they got away with some shit in this one.
They did,
for sure.
They did. And the sort of national punditry, I think, was a little even like the soccer podcast punditry was they were pretty soft on in their handling of what happened yesterday, because I thought it was pretty egregious, honestly, and I thought it was
not
bad
the American
coaching.
ones, not the American ones. Like I feel like all I mean, Doyle was pretty hardcore about it. I mean, I don't know who you're talking about that were like easy on.
I think like the TSS guys is what I was thinking of, and I don't know, they like I thought it was a really bad coaching performance, and I thought Panama were impeccably coached. Honestly, Ghana.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting my. When you were asking me about the Australia game, I should have rewatched it because I have watched so much soccer. Because I'm a teacher, so I'm not working. I'm watching like every single game, and it's honestly too much. Like I went to bed last night with a splitting headache because I've just like been staring at the TV all day long, and I'm not complaining because I love it and it's great. But amazing. I am just like,
There's been a lot of soccer to consume.
One game is like bleeding into the next, and there has been a lot of soccer. But yeah,
let's go back to the U.S. men's national team really quick.
Please.
Let's do that because I did want to talk about Ghana, CONCACAF, and England, which was important for us to discuss. But let's close the book on the U.S. men's national team game. I've been consuming a ton of content as well, as much as I can. The games as much as I can, and then content as much as there's so much content out there. People talking about these games. One of the ones that has caught my eye. I listened to it a little bit the first time. I actually watched it on YouTube this time after the game. Fox is doing a thing where Rob Stone gets Bruce Arena, Greg Berhalter, and Bob Bradley together to talk about the U.S. performance, and it was enlightening. It's enlightening to hear those three guys kind of put their own sort of perspective on all of this, and as you were discussing Pochettino's way of sort of putting guys in positions to succeed and sort of doing the tactical along with the personal. It reminded me like how much Greg Berhalter he's a soccer mind. He's a tactico. Like that is his mindset. He is a tactico. And I think there's value to that. But I think to your point what makes Pochettino an elite level coach is being able to combine those tactics and that soccer knowledge along with the people knowledge and how to motivate people and how to that part of it as well.
Which is what Bruce does. So he's
La Pasión, if you want to call it that, right? But it is definitely kind of he's kind of like Bruce and Greg combined for sure. And so it's fascinating for me to hear all of them discuss all that. But what I thought was really interesting, and this is why I wanted to go back, and I apologize if you don't remember the details all of the Australia game, but I thought Bruce said it fairly saliently. He's like, I don't think they played that good against Australia. And I thought that was interesting because I think in the second half, I agree that they weren't as organized as I liked them to be. In the first half, I think that they were mostly professional and in control. But I love that Bruce is like, I don't know that they played that well. And
I mean, I think he's probably right. I mean,
yeah,
because you look at probably the two least impactful players. Especially if if you watch the game, sure, but also if you look at the FOTMob ratings, were the strikers, and against a team that's setting up in a low block like that, you expect to be able to get the ball to your strikers. It's just what we just criticized Tuchel for, right? How do you get the ball to your strikers? And I think that the strikers got the ball, especially Balogun, got the ball in the box and then wasn't able to finish.
But I mean, he creates the own goal. Like Balogun,
he does. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that you want more from those players, right? You want Balogun to get a goal or two to be able to continue the momentum that he's established. And so yeah, I would agree that they didn't play well, and I agree that they, especially in the second half, I thought ceded too much momentum to Australia, and when you. I don't think Australia was doing anything, completely mind blowing to get themselves back into the game. I think that the United States was not necessarily taking care of their business.
I think that's 100% true, but I would also say that I don't think that Australia ever got anything that dangerous going.
No, they didn't.
So, I mean, yes, the U.S. didn't play up to their full potential, but also Australia wasn't really troubling them.
Right.
Like, Australia had way more possession in the second half than you would expect an Australian team to have, right? Like, we know that they're a bunker and counter, or launch and squish, as Foodie likes to call it, team. But Australia took 3 shots in the second half of the game.
Yeah.
0.2 XG.
That's not good.
No. When you're down 2 goals, it's not good. So, I understand where that sentiment comes from, and I do think that there was a lot of, sloppy play. But I think that was more just kind of the way that Australia was going about their game, as well as the U.S. Trying to manage a result.
Sure. And I do think there is some utility to giving the U.S. players an opportunity to manage a result, right? An opportunity to grind one out. You don't necessarily have to have your foot on the gas the whole time. There is some utility to being able to take your foot off the gas and still manage the game. I just thought that they maybe took their foot off the gas a little too much. But
you'd like to see them stand on their neck and finish it, but
absolutely.
I mean, it's not.
Not even like score another goal. I'm just talking about not let them even have the possession that they ended up having in the second half.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. They won the game. You know what I'm saying?
Both teams are playing soccer. Right. At some level, you have to recognize that you are not going to dominate 90 minutes of the match, right? And like I said, I don't think that this game was near the comprehensive performance that it was against Paraguay. I will wholeheartedly admit that. But it was still 100% the U.S. was the protagonist in this game.
Yeah, and I agree. I do think that, however, that the United States does need to have a better plan B, right? They only took a single shot in the second half. They had only 5 touches in the second half.
They need a better plan B against what? I guess is the question.
So they're allowing Australia to have the ball and to create shots. Then I think there needs to be a better.
But they didn't create shots. They created 3 shots. I don't think they did allow them to create shots. I think they allowed them to feel like they were more in the game. But realistically, none of the Australia attacks ever actually really challenged the goal significantly.
So what I want to see is a much more dangerous American counterattack in that scenario. That's what I want to see.
That is a fair thing, and they need, and it's a hard thing to do without Pulisic. It's a hard thing. I don't know why. I mean, they do need to be better on the counterattack. What Poch has them set up to do is very much like mid 2010s Tottenham, which is a lot of repress and go forward kind of stuff, right? Keep the ball away from your goal, repress and go forward, and if they get back there, just sort of consolidate. And try to control and then get back into your normal shape. I don't think that in this one we necessarily saw like we saw like the subs didn't even come to the 74th minute. Like Berhalter comes on the 74th. Temwa never comes in this game. You want to talk about a guy that can help you on the counterattack?
He was the player who I was going to mention.
I'm not even Haji Wright instead.
I'm not even a big Temwa fan, but like that having that possibility, Tim Weah and Ricardo Pepi on a counterattack like that.
Well, that space was available, to your point, right? Like because Australia was actually committing numbers forward on a turnover, the guys that are good at finding that counterattacking space were not on the field. Yeah. And so I think that, you're right that there needs to be more of an ability to make that tactical change, especially with the water breaks. Like with the water break, you can see how this is going, right? And you can go, okay, well, fine, we'll make some subs here that we can counterattack you with, and kind of shift the dynamic. So I think in that regard, I understand what you mean by a plan B. I don't think that Australia ever really challenged them. So, and I think Australia is a unique team that is a style that they're not going to see that much in the knockout rounds. So I don't know how much of that is a concern, but it is noteworthy that they were, especially, in the second half, just not quite up to the physicality and sort of the way that Australia was. I mean, it was very stop-starty. It was very sloppy. It was just, it was not soccer the way that we normally like to see it, but they still professionaled it out, to my point. They never really allowed Australia to get reasonable shots on goal. And so I think I'm happy about that, especially given my concerns about the defense of this team. Okay, let's move back to more World Cup stories, things that we're enjoying. The Discord's already popping off about this. The big Aranye party is tomorrow. We're very excited. The big orange bus is going to be outside Power and Light. They're going to march down to the Fan Fest. We're going to do our left-right dance. Everything's going to happen, right? I'm just really excited for how much Kansas City is showing out for all of these things. Like, I was at the Ecuador-Curacao match, and it was very, very Ecuador heavy. Like, there were about 68,000 Ecuadorian fans and about 1,000 Curacao fans. But Curacao,
I had breakfast all the way down in Leawood that morning, and the restaurant was full of Ecuador fans. It was great.
You were in Leawood? What were you doing in Leawood?
Father's Day breakfast.
All right, good. All right. Well, I'm glad that I mean, there it was, and we're seeing that for every match, right? Obviously, we expected it for Argentina and Messi, but Ecuador Curacao, it was very much a similar deal, and it was a very fun environment and very fun. I mean, it was a 0-0, but the game was a lot more competitive than that. And obviously, Eloy Room ends up with 15 saves, although according to Mark Kapfer, Mike Kuhn would have made 14 of them, so it's not that big of a deal. But regardless, the environment was fun. It was a good time, and Curacao gets their first point, which is great. But again, Netherlands, Tunisia comes to Kansas City Stadium tomorrow as we're recording this, and the big Aranye party has become so big that they've shifted the times for it, and now apparently, like, you can start rolling up at like 7 a.m. now. because they're worried about how many people are going to be there.
Wow.
Originally, this thing was supposed to be like you get there at around 9 to 11 at KC Live, and then the walk was going to be at like 12:15. And now they're like, we're expecting way too many people to do it that way, so we're going to have to start at 7.
That's really great.
So if you want to be in some cool drone shots of the big orange bus and all of the orange behind it, you're going to have to get there early, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a good time. As a Dutchman, I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I think that especially in Kansas City, because of the teams that elected to sort of base their operations out of this area, like I think that a lot of attention got paid on those teams, and rightfully so. But I didn't expect there to be so many Ecuador fans showing up, like taking over, so many Netherlands fans. I didn't expect the all the Scottish fans to just travel from city to city, drinking all the beer and endearing themselves to an entire half of the country, basically. And so that's been something that was kind of, I don't know, like I think intellectually I knew that was going to happen, but like watching it happen in real time is just one of the coolest things. And having all of these different fan groups come to Kansas City and really make an imprint on the celebrations that we have here is just really cool, man. It's just really cool.
Well, it's a little bit of that, but it's also a little bit of them getting to see Kansas City, welcome it, participate, like sort of immerse themselves in it, sure, and participate with them. And I think that's also been the greatest story of this World Cup, is all of these fan groups going to these different areas of the country, finding a bunch of like-minded people and a bunch of welcoming people.
Yeah.
And all of them sort of getting together to do this. And I promise you, the thousands, the many thousands that will be in this march with the big orange bus tomorrow are at least half Kansas Cityans, right? It's not just traveling Netherlands fans. There are going to be tens of thousands of Kansas Cityans as well. Yeah. And I think that's the cool part of it, is that, like, especially here, we know how big of a deal sports is in this town and how much we really sort of latch onto it. And I'm just glad that a lot of these groups and the people that are traveling here get to see it and get to sort of participate in it with us. One thing I didn't get to touch on when we talked about the U.S. Men's National Team game was the whole John Denver situation and the Country Roads Take Me Home. And there's a lot of good articles on this. Henry Bushnell has an article kind of how this happened and how the song was picked and why they played it and such. And it was almost sort of like a little bit by accident. It's kind of interesting. So I'll put it in the pod chat in the Discord later so that you guys can look at it. But it's definitely, like, it's interesting to kind of hear the story about it. But also, everyone in Seattle was still in the stands.
Yeah. As
all this is happening. Like, no one left. And then they played Country Roads. And there's actually a thing in the article about how they had Living on a Prayer as well as, like, one of the songs that they wanted. And I think they played that first, or maybe they played it at the water break or something like that. And, like, nobody really, like, sung along with it. And it's kind of like a hard song to sing along with. And then this became the thing. And you just hear 70,000 people singing along and just immediately getting into it. And everyone knows that song, and Europeans know that song, right? It's popular amongst European soccer fans. You hear them using it a lot. So it was just a really fun moment and a very organic moment. And it reminded me of the fact that is, often the thing that is sort of thrown at U.S. soccer fans, is that our chants are shit. I mean, let's be honest. They are kind of shit.
Most of them are.
Most of them are kind of shit. I
believe except the ones we steal.
Exactly. I believe that we will win. It's fucking terrible. Like, we all know this. So, like, like there should be something that's ours in our way, right? And it should be organic, and it should happen organically. So that was really cool to me. Spencer Hall put a thing on Blue Sky afterward. He was talking about, like, we need to turn soccer in the U.S. into college football. Like, it needs to be that. Like, that's what Poch was so amped up about. Like, right when he got hired, he went to that Ohio State game at the Shoe, and he was like, holy shit. Like, y'all are fired up, like, fired up football fans. Like, I love this. The problem is it happens in college football. That is where you see it. You don't even see it in the NFL at that level. Like, college football is a whole different animal when it comes to, like, passion for your team. And I think Spencer put up the thing where which is very, very well known at this point. Virginia Tech has the deal where they play Enter Sandman, where they're walking out to the field. And the whole crowd in that stadium is the thing about college football stadiums. And you guys all, I mean, those of you who've been to these stadiums know this. They're extremely vertical, right? Like the stands are extremely vertical. They're all bleachers. None of them are like crazy, like fancy seats or anything like that. And it's just a bunch of people packed in. And there's a great, I'll put the YouTube video as well. If you guys aren't familiar with this, is Virginia Tech. It's a pretty cool deal what they do. Because, like, from where the locker rooms are, they're not at the stadium. They have to, like, walk from the locker rooms over to the stadium. And then they march out. And they play Enter Sandman every time when they come into the stadium. And the whole crowd is bouncing. Right? And it is the closest thing that I can probably compare to, like, you know, a big match in the Maracanã, or, you know what I mean? Like, like we talk so much about, like, building that sort of passion like they have in South American football, that they have in other leagues. That's it, right? Like that sort of crazy experience. And we got to find a way to kind of do that to college football up our soccer a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
Because I'm telling you, and it doesn't need to be Enter Sandman, but can you imagine having some hype like that as the team walks out? Yeah. And just like, and the whole crowd is bouncing. That is the kind of shit that they got to find out, because that is quintessentially American.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think there is an ability to do that. I think they pulled in, and John Denver is not it, right? It's not that kind of vibe. But it is something that they can like, you can pull sort of that, like, getting everyone engaged into. Yeah. John Denver's a post game thing, right? But how do you get the whole stadium so raucous that when the opponent walks out, they're like, what the fuck am I walking into? Right? That's a college football thing. Yeah. Like, and I think that there is something that they can do there and FIFA probably won't let them do it at a World Cup. If I'm being honest, they got to play whatever music they're playing. They've been doing the Chicago Bulls intro music, which is actually pretty cool. Like, it's actually pretty cool that they do that. But I would love U.S. Soccer Federation to come up with something so that every, like, home match, friendly, World Cup qualifier, whatever, Mexico's got to walk out to just a pounding fucking beat, and the whole stadium rocking. Like, that is the next step to sort of take this to the level I think that Pochettino even has in mind. So I thought that was like a really cool deal. The whole country.
So what you're saying is we should not have allowed the world to take Seven Nation Army from us. We should have just used it ourselves.
That song is so overused at this point. Like,
I know. That's my point.
It's terrible. I can't even listen to that song now. I have a good friend of mine who's like 10 years older than me. That's AC/DC Back in Black for him. He heard it so many times on so many things. It's like, I don't ever want to hear that fucking song ever again in my life.
I can understand that.
Yeah. All right. More things around the World Cup. The Alexi Lalas discourse has continued. Andrew Marchand is writing articles for The Athletic about how terrible he is. Various Eric Winalda is jumping on.
That's what we've been missing the whole time, was little Eric Winalda. Yeah.
The man will not hesitate to grab an opportunity to talk shit about something to get attention paid to him.
Yep.
when the worst person you know just made a good point.
That would be Eric Ronaldo.
Yeah. And you know what was funny is that as all these think pieces came out about how bad Lawless has been, Matt Doyle sort of subtweeting everything and saying about it and like trying to put, well, Zlatan's much worse. And don't get me wrong, Zlatan's terrible. He's terrible on TV.
Yeah,
don't put this guy on television.
Yeah.
He's fucking terrible. But Matt, why are you so worried about trying to make Lawless? Like, why are you so triggered by Lawless hate? I don't understand. Other than the fact that you used to work for his brother.
It's access journalism, you know. They just can't burn that bridge.
I mean, listen, I there was some stuff that this conversation's been had in the Discord, and I don't even have it anymore. I don't really care. I don't want to go deep into this whole thing. I think two things can be true. Lawless and Zlatan can be bad at the same time. They're both bad.
Different kinds of bad too.
I will say this. I think putting Warren Barton on games is more egregious than either of those being in a studio.
Completely agree.
I can just fucking turn off the studio show.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can move to Telemundo when Warren Barton is on, but I mean, like, if you're trying to watch in English language, you are subjected to Warren Barton.
It's bad. It's
Jesus
really
Christ. Bad. He was on the Canada game today. Jesus. I don't think he knew the name of one Canada player.
That would not surprise me in the least. Bad.
Yeah. Okay. All right. One of the things about Netherlands playing tomorrow night at Arrowhead is we also get Tunisia and Hervé Renard and his aura, which definitely has definitely not fixed Tunisia. They lost like 4-0. Like they've. I mean, but we get Hervé Renard. I mean, he's gonna look sexy on the sideline.
This is true. He is a good looking man in a tight white shirt. So it's very.
I mean, it's probably gonna be raining. Is it gonna be like in kind of?
I mean, he seems like the guy who would just rock the shirt regardless, right?
Yeah, just let it be see through.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that does seem like an Hervé move. Like it really does. My last question is, what the fuck is wrong with Belgium? What's going on?
They have a bad coach, and most of their players are washed. They're good players. Most of their
Doku was out, right? Because he was
was out, right? And he's probably going to be out.
His wife is having a baby.
Yeah. Yep. So it's and I think that there was probably. When you have a player like Doku, it's tempting to build, your whole attack around him. And when he's not there, like, what are you going to do? And like that has been some of, I think, the worst coaching that I have seen, especially from one of the larger, national teams, right? Like, the coaching for Qatar has been kind of bad, and Jordan and Iraq and Iran, like those teams have not necessarily been well coached. I've been really pleasantly surprised by a lot of the African teams, like their coaching and their their sort of team vibe and dynamic, and the way that they are playing together. I've been really pleasantly surprised by that. Excuse me. About Ghana, we talked about them earlier. They were, that was a really well drilled defense last night, man.
But Queiroz has been doing this forever. Like, he is
true. Yeah.
Carlos Queiroz is the guy you hire when you need the guy when you need someone's gonna organize your team. Right, like this goes back to like 1990. Carlos Queiroz has been that guy. Yep. Like, if you're an international team that needs the guy that's going to organize your team, you hire Queiroz. Like, Queiroz, notably, I'm like 2/3 of the way through of reading Leander Scherlaken's book, which is great. It's fantastic, by the way. Get the book if you can. Audiobook, get it on Kindle, I don't care. It's called The Long Game, and he actually discusses Queiroz was a part of a whole study that that the U.S. Soccer Federation commissioned in after 1994 to be able to like figure out how to um, build build soccer more successfully in the United States. And a lot of this led to a lot of the outputs that we see that led to the academy in Bradenton and a variety of other things. But Kirosh was a key part of that, and they were going to try to hire Kirosh to be the coach in 1998. And it seems like what happened in that circumstance was really more that there was weirdness over who became the new U.S. soccer president and what their direction was, because Kirosh was basically tagged to be the coach in 1998, and they ended up going with Steve Sampson because of change of leadership at U.S. Soccer, which is kind of an interesting sort of like sliding doors moment to consider, because we all know what happened in 1998. Like, it was a fucking mess, and so yeah. It's interesting, for sure. But read Leander's book.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
that sounds like a fascinating read. I I've just, as I was saying, like I was really impressed by their organization, but these teams like DR Congo and Cape Verde, like those teams, it's not just that they're playing in low blocks, like they are playing. They're playing in like very physical, almost like front-footed low blocks, right? It's like very not a passive low block at all.
No,
like
they have a clear idea of what they're going to do when they get the turnover,
Yeah.
right? They know what they're doing when they get the ball.
I love that. I love it. It's very entertaining for me. Like personally, I really enjoy that brand of soccer, and so I've been loving it.
Against England, it was very much haram ball. Let's be honest. Like that was a haram ball special from Kirosh against England.
Sure.
But for the most part, you're right. Like even when they're defending a lot, it's not defending without an idea, right? It is defending with a clear idea.
And that's what makes some of the other teams that, I mean, I think even if we look at like Scotland today, I mean, like that's a good example. They're defending, but they don't have an idea of what to do when and if they win the ball. There's no clear, concise, pattern of play moving forward. And I think that's what makes, for me personally, that's what makes for a really rough watch, right? I like those well drilled counterattacks, even if they're playing suffer ball for the rest of the time. I can really get behind that, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think in general, this World Cup has been very entertaining. And I was a little bit dubious on the 48-team World Cup going into this. And I have to admit that I was off base on that. Now, there may be some reasons for that. You may have some ideas of why that is. But generally, this has been a very entertaining World Cup.
Yeah, so like all you gotta do is look at the games yesterday, right? The with the exception of the Portugal-Uzbekistan games, like all those games, like they weren't the most aesthetically pleasing games to watch, but they were all tight games, and they were all like physical and hard-fought battles, and teams that were really well drilled, and that took really, the teams that won just had like some individual, moments of magic to win them. Like that's what the World Cup is all about. And when you juxtapose that with, these, global superstars, who are showing up, for their teams and scoring, goals after goals after goals, like, so it's like there's something in it for everybody, and it's really awesome. Like my kids, like my daughter's 27, and she plays soccer all the time, like 2 or 3 times a week. But she doesn't follow international soccer that closely. But like she is super into it, and it's really cool to see. And she's into it because of those superstars who are really putting their stamp on this World Cup. And I think when it's all said and done, that's probably what one of the things that's really going to be a hallmark of this World Cup is just the persistence and level of performance by Holland and Mbappe and messy. And it's amazing, really.
Right, but Holland had a great game against Senegal, but that was a 3-2 game. That was a highly competitive game.
Right.
It wasn't like oh my god, they got trashed. Like that was a highly competitive game.
It was.
That's what I'm saying. It's like there's I think you hit the nail on the head. There's room for both. There's room for Lionel Messi to be doing what he's doing, and Haaland doing what he's doing, and Mbappe doing what he's doing for France, along with the fact that these are highly competitive games. Yeah. Like, even I think that was the biggest concern with the 2018 World Cup, is that these games there would be too many just washouts that weren't good, and even the ones that are blowouts are still entertaining. Yeah. And I think that was the part that was I think that most people didn't expect, right? And don't get me wrong, like I mean, there are some blowouts out there, but everyone's enjoying it. And I think that is the whole point. And like I said, I was a detractor. I was not a fan of this expansion. It felt more like a money grab and adding a bunch more games so FIFA could get more broadcast rights and charge more for tickets and all those other things. And all of that is definitely happening. Like, let's be clear. That is 100% happening. But the games are good.
Yeah.
And I'm having fun.
Me too. It's a blast.
It is really a blast. Okay. Let's move on to potpourri. Just like your favorite Jeopardy category, we got a few topics in around the Sporting Kansas City MLS soccer sphere. The first one is another GOAT got her money. Temwa just signed a contract extension at the beginning of 2025 after her first MVP season. Gets another MVP season, gets another contract extension. This time using the high impact player rule. So this is a big one. Like they're paying her big wages. Honestly, probably really good business by the current front office, right?
Yes, like you said, she's won multiple MVPs at this point, and if you're not paying her market rate for, if she's not in the conversation she's always going to be in the conversation for the best player in the league. If she's not in that sphere in terms of her compensation, then she's always going to be looking elsewhere. And so you gotta, just like the Chiefs they gotta pay Patrick Mahomes, man.
And there are levels to this too, right? Like Mahomes got his contract extension, and he's going to be making $60-70 million a year. And Mahomes, right. But even on his first contract, Mahomes and his kids' kids are good for their lives, right?
Right.
Temwa's not in that boat, right? Like Temwa was making good money, and she was in a good place. But this isn't life changing. I'm good for the rest of my life money. Right. And I'm not even sure what she's making now is that, but it's definitely elevated towards, like, there are several Sporting Kansas City players, I'm sure, that are making more money than Temwa is, even with this new deal, right? So I say that to say that, but you're right, you need to pay her what she's worth, because if you don't pay her what she's worth, Chelsea will 100% pay her what she's worth.
Yeah.
Or Manchester City, or the Lion City Lionesses, or Lyon, or Barcelona. One of those will definitely pay her what she's worth. So you have to make this move.
Yeah, you just got to pay her whatever it takes to keep her here, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And
I'm all for professional women's soccer players starting to get paid like they should get paid. Like, honestly, if you can fill a 12,000 seat stadium every fucking game because of how good you are,
yeah,
you should be paid appropriately for it. Like, I understand that you're trying to draw that money away from people who have the means to pay you $1 million, right? But at some point, they recognize that if you leave, those seats aren't full anymore, right? And so they need that value. And you only have to look across town to Sporting Kansas City to see what happens when you don't have those players available, right? So I think this is a move that had to be made, and it was a positive move. And she would have been probably one of the hottest commodities on the transfer market if they hadn't made this move.
Agree. But lucky us.
I mean, I'm all for watching all the Temwa for the next 5 years.
She's a fun player.
She's fantastic to watch. All right, next thing. Miami hasn't done this, but Tom Bogert has basically said that Casemiro is coming to Miami, and it's going to be another one of those Rodrigo de Paul deals where he's probably going to be on a TAM deal through the end of the year, and then who knows what they're going to do in the spring half season and after that. I think it's possible that they may just fucking jettison Germain Berterame. That might happen. I think it's possible that the rules might change.
I think that's a strong possibility.
Jorge Mas is on the competition committee, or whatever they call it, the product strategy committee, I think is what it is now. Or was that what it was before, and now they call it the competition committee? I don't know. Anyway, I don't care about the names inside the board of governors. I do know that Jorge Mas is part of that group, and from some stuff I've read, I'm reading both Leander Sherlicken's and Paul Tenorio's books. I kind of move back and forth depending on what I'm thinking that day. And there's some stuff in there about kind of how the dynamics of that group have changed. Clark Hunt is a big component of that competition committee group, obviously being the owner of FC Dallas, or their family owns FC Dallas. His brother Dan sort of runs that team, but Clark is obviously a big proponent of that conversation. And he was probably one of the biggest detractors of sort of changing the spending rules, and seems to have started to relent a little bit in that regard. So I think that we might see some changes. And to be abundantly clear, I don't think the MLSPA has even approved the schedule switch yet. So who knows what's happening here in the negotiation with them on the CBA or a new CBA or any of that kind of stuff. It's not out. It's not on the public right now. And again, the guys who would know, the Paul Tenorios of the world that would know, are pretty focused on the World Cup right now. So yeah. I think that there's potential for a lot of different things, but I think Miami has multiple options to make this work over the long term, and they will make it work.
And they've proven in the past that if they have to cheat in order to do it, they will. So they're going to make it work.
They did that in 2022.
I know,
stop
Drew.
Doing this?
Drew, it's the joke. You're just ruining the joke.
It's not even a joke. It's like 4 years old. It's a tired joke. Come up with a new joke.
I'm a tired person. I'm just like Messi. I'm just like Messi. I'm tired. Don't ask me. I'm tired.
Old men use old jokes.
You just got to throw whatever you can at the wall. See what sticks.
Yeah. Okay. The Kansas City Current are coming back to action this week, by the way. They're playing in the Challenge Cup against Gotham FC in Columbus.
That makes total sense.
Because reasons. Are they playing in that public park for handicapped people that they're going to mow down to build a new stadium?
I hope so.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. It's good for content.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm being snarky. So the Current do come back to match play without Ali Sentnor. I assume Dabinia is probably... I have no idea what her health level looks like, if she's even training.
See, somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody like skied it out that watching Turkey play was like watching 10 Ali Sentnors on the field. It was a
fantastic skeet. It was
holy
amazing.
Shit! I almost lost it. That was amazing.
It was the funniest thing I ever heard, because watching Turkey play in that match, I was like, is this all you do? Is just rip it from 20 yards? Is like that literally all you know how to do?
Wow.
Yikes. Like, they have 2.17 XG on 32 shots.
Wow. It's amazing.
They're averaging like 0.05 XG per shot for this tournament.
Yeah.
They
don't
deserve
shoot from
to
inside
lose.
The box. They do.
Sorry.
They've been terrible. And you want to talk about a poorly coached team? Holy crap. They are like
big time yikes with like talented players. Like that's the frustrating part to me. They have talented players. We'll get there in a second. We're not to that match yet. Right. The last thing that I want to cover is that the NWSL today, this was like a news release today, is implementing a lot of the rule changes that we've seen in MLS and then FIFA is using in this World Cup regarding substitutions, regarding injured players, and most importantly, regarding solidifying processes for water breaks, hydration breaks when the heat is at a certain level. Just put a fucking policy in place. Like, just make it normal. Don't make Chris Long yell on a phone to the fucking commissioner about what's going on. Like, just fucking do a normal thing. Just be normal. Yeah. That's all I'm asking of you, NWSL. Just be normal.
Treat your if you're gonna treat your athletes like commodities, treat them like valuable commodities. You know.
Well, that's part of the reason Chris Long is yelling into the phone. He's like, dude, I got $250 million on this, and you're trying to like make my players pass out on the field. Like,
it's ridiculous.
Fuck. Just be normal. Anyway, all right. Moving on, USMNT versus Turkey A. Who plays in this match?
Brendan Aronson.
I think
Haji Wright.
I think it's possible Pulisic might start in this game.
I would imagine he comes on later.
Really?
Given an appropriate game state. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I don't know.
He said he's ready to go. Like he's fit and available.
But what is that? If he's ready to play 60 minutes, sure, start him. But if he's not, then don't even bother.
Even if he's ready to play 45, when you start him in the match, I think it'd be more valuable to start him. Wouldn't you? No.
I mean, it's just getting his cardio in. Honestly, I don't think that there's,
Do you take anything from the mindset that momentum is real and like you want to have guys like in playing form?
No. I think that the only momentum that's real in this particular case is fan interest.
Okay.
I think that as in terms of the athletes go, they're all professionals and they know what's what. And I don't think that playing Christian Pulisic is going to maintain the team momentum. I think the team,
Christian Pulisic could play not at all and be completely fine around the 32.
Agreed.
I agree.
Not only that, but I think that if he could not play at all and then come in the next game and be an integral part, right? Like
and dominate the game. Yeah,
sure,
I agree with that completely. I'm not worried about Pulisic being integrated. I don't worry about that at all. No, I'm not worried about his stuff.
I think it's much cooler to imagine that there are a lot of players that might not get if Alex Zendejas doesn't play tomorrow, is he ever going to get to play? Probably not. Like that dude could get a start in a World Cup. How great for him.
That's fair. That's a fair point. I mean, and Alex, we talked about this when we talked about the selection of the team. Everyone's wringing their hands about Diego Luna didn't make it over Alex Zendejas or Brendan Aronson. Have we seen Brendan Aronson yet? No.
Nope.
We might tomorrow. I think it's likely that Ricardo Pepi starts up top.
Agree. Yeah.
I think we're going to see some changes on the back line for sure.
Agree. The last thing you need to do is run out Tim Ream, dude. I mean, let the old man rest.
Trusty and Miles probably, but I think is Alex Freeman on a yellow? Who are the four on a yellow? It's Tyler, Chris Richards,
Balogun,
and who's the fourth? I don't even remember. I'm gonna have to look at the damn thing. But is it Wes? It's not Wes, is it? No, because I saw a lot of stuff, and that's the one thing I would say. Wes probably starts this. He's been such an integral part of this team, and he's one of those guys. And I say this, I knock on all the wood around me. He's not. He's a motor, man. He just plays all the minutes. I don't really worry about him playing a bunch, and they don't play again until next Wednesday.
Yeah,
like it's not like they have to play in 3 days. Like they're off. They don't play again until next Wednesday. So I'm kind of like.
I think Jedi is the other one on a yellow.
Okay. So we might see Max Iverson. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. See a little Arf
I don't want Jedi to play anyway. I mean, he
is a guy who is coming back from an injury this year, right?
He is. Yep.
So I would prefer him to get a break. See a little Arf dog.
Yeah.
Some Austin Trusty, some Miles Robinson, or Mark McKenzie, one or the other.
Joe Scally, let's go.
I mean, I don't think we're going to see Scally unless they pull Freeman off. I don't think they're going to pull Freeman off.
I don't know. I mean, we saw Scally in the last game, which was kind of surprising, honestly.
But he comes in for Freeman at the end of games. That's not uncommon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tim Weah. I'd like to see Tim Weah play some minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to see him in for Dest. Like, he should start for Dest in this game. Like, this is a dead rubber game.
Agreed.
There's no reason that Tim Weah shouldn't play this game. But
Agreed.
I don't think Gio Reyna's going to start this game. Do you?
I don't. I think that the point that Doyle made today was salient. You should play Gio Reyna as little as possible because he is made of glass. And if you start him, there's a good chance that he'll pull something and he'll be done for the rest of the tournament. So
you put him in when you need a goal at the end of a game.
Yeah. When you need some saucy vibes.
Break glass in case of emergency. Yep. Although he was really good against Paraguay in a friendly earlier this year, and he started that match and was very good in it. But yeah, you're right. I don't have any faith in the fact that Gio Reyna can play 75 minutes without a hamstring strain. So,
but I could see him. But that said, I mean, I could see Pochettino starting him tomorrow. It wouldn't be a surprise to me.
Adds the left-sided sort of half-space guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're probably going to see Seb Berhalter and Malik Tillman.
Agree. That makes the most sense.
I mean, especially with Roldan. He appears to be okay, but yeah, he had picked up some kind of little injury. Yeah. Okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think that fans should have very little expectations, very few expectations from this match.
But you know what? I bet Poch has high expectations from it, and he's going to push them. He's going to push high expectations.
I hope so, and I hope they have high expectations for themselves. Like I hope that they go out there and really perform. And I would not be surprised if they did. I don't know what to expect from Turkey because they have been terrible in matches that actually mattered. So
and they're eliminated now. So like it's like who knows what they'll do. They may want to make a name for themselves or something like this, but I mean, whatever. At that point, like where the fuck were you for the last two games?
Yeah, they're not good, and they're especially not good defensively. And so they're not good anywhere and on the field, honestly. So
and that was my notable takeaway today. Well, I was watching Bosnia versus Qatar, and I was like, because that if one of those teams, like I said, Bosnia ends up winning this game, whoever won that game, if someone won it, was most likely going to finish or going to get the U.S. in the round of 32. I'm like, I'm not worried about either of these teams.
No,
like they're terrible defensively.
They're bad teams. Yep.
They're terrible defensively. I was like, I watched. So like Bosnia gets up early, and then Qatar starts to like go after them and try to score. And I'm like, Bosnia's giving up chance after chance late in that half to Qatar, and I'm like, Qatar is ass. Like that team is ass, and they're just giving up chance after chance. To him gives up a goal. I was like, I don't want to get too overconfident, but I mean, I'm not super concerned about that matchup.
No, neither am I.
All right, well, we'll have to see how this all shakes out. I'm interested.
Vibes are good.
The vibes are good, man, and that's the thing. It's like getting back to that conversation. Pochettino, like in the articles that you see today, and some people are kind of taken a little bit of umbrage at it that he's solved the vibes in the U.S. men's national team locker room. I think what he's done is sort of remind these guys what they're fucking here to do.
Yeah. Right?
And I think, the vibes were bad when he took over. Like if you read the article about this, like when he took over, the vibes were fucking bad. They just lost to Panama in the Copa America and then Uruguay, and then they go to the Nations League final and lose to Panama again. And Poch even said, he's like, there was like a thing that Henry Bushnell put in his article. He's like, it looked like Poch knew they were going to lose that game.
Yeah,
he knew the vibes were bad, and I think that there's something to be said about like resetting that. and developing a level of competition for it. And there was a lot of stuff that you and I discussed regarding his choices during that time frame that we weren't really seeing, and him saying, like, trust the process. Mm-hmm. Well, we're seeing it now. And so I do trust the process. And I should not have doubted. I mean, the guy is my favorite coach of all time. He has guided my club team to the highest highs that I've seen in my life. And I shouldn't have been so dismissive of what he was doing, because it seemed a little hokey. If I'm being honest, it seemed hokey.
Yeah.
You didn't see the tactics behind it. You just saw the vibey part of it. And it's like, bro, we can't just coach vibes. Like, we have to, like, actually coach. And then I watched the fucking organization that they come out with in these 2 World Cup games. I'm like, okay, the coaching's happening. Fair. I was a little out over my skis on that one. The coaching's happening. And, man, it's fun to see. So hopefully we see more of it.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the tournament. I have no anxiety about the performance of the United States. I think that regardless of what happens, I'm happy with the way that they're playing, and I'm happy with the the sort of progression that they've made, and so. They've made it out of the group, which is, like, as far as I'm concerned, the minimum expectation. And so to a degree, it's kind of all gravy from here. I think that they actually could go quite far, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the bracket shakes out. And I don't want to try to get too far in front of ourselves. I just want them to keep performing in this way. If they keep performing in this way, I'm going to be happy. Sometimes games go against you, even when you perform well. Shit happens. Okay, fine. But if they keep performing in this way, like, this is the most I've enjoyed watching this team in my life. Period.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean...
And that's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just that Paraguay game was, like, that was amazing.
Even the Australia game, it wasn't
even a letdown. It was just a solid performance.
And a professional performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is what we hope to see tomorrow night or Thursday night as a recording.
I do want to point out that we didn't even mention the greatest, the coolest World Cup visitor to Kansas City, and that is the brown booby that was at Anita B. Gorman for like 2 weeks. Amazing.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's a bird, man. It's a bird. It's a bird.
What? Why is what?
It's a Caribbean.
You're gonna have to explain yourself a little bit further, dude.
It's a seabird that's found in the Caribbean that somehow an individual wound up at Anita B. Gorman, and it's I don't think it's there any longer, but it had been there for like the last like a week and a half, 2 weeks. It was on the news and everything, and it was like a big deal. It's a bird nerd thing for sure, but
okay.
I know that there are a few of us in the Discord, so I just wanted to shout out to the booby.
I enjoy keeping an eye on birds. I just don't know that much about them. I'm a bird novice, that's for sure. Well, I did not even realize that there was a Caribbean bird that had landed in Anita B. Gorman. Like, that just showed up out of nowhere. During COVID, there was a damn giant pelican living in Loose Park, and then going over and jumping in the giant ass spruce trees back behind my house. So, that's cool. Get some cool shit.
So you can see pelicans in the Midwest commonly, but you don't ever see a brown booby. So that's why it was such a huge deal. But I think sadly it's flown south. So I don't know, if it shows back up, I'll throw it in the Discord and everybody can flock to see it. So
I like what you did there. But right.
See,
I'm not even.
Not all dad jokes are bad.
And on that note, I'm Drew. He's Cody. We will talk to y'all next week.
Bye-bye.